Okay, let's go ahead and hop into Bitcoin. Let me pull this up here. On the intermediate term, first thing I always like to do is just hide the drawings for a second. Look at the actual price action, the actual price patterns. This is just about as pretty as you will see in terms of any chart. You saw that huge move up in Bitcoin, the two equal highs, right? Double top, sold off. What did it do? Took a, let's just say 18 months ish, right? To form that large saucer bottom. What did it do after that? It moved back to that old high again. About, right? Close enough, right? Right back to the old high. After which it flagged. So you can look at this like a huge, cup and handle pattern, right? After which, what happened after that? Bull flag as well. That set up the move. That move was big. Why? Because this is a several month-long pattern that took time to build. That's why it was so significant. The longer the base, the more significant the move out of the base is, right? And this was a massive move, right? Very clear. And then what happened after that? Zoom in. We rallied. We formed our peak. Look at the RS. When you're seeing a clear swing up, right, and you then see the RS start to curl down, this is your swing down. This is saying, okay, watch for highs, and then it swings down. What did it do when it swung down? It moved right back, not exactly, but right around that area to actually retest the breakout. It did it perfectly in spite of all that noise. This is why we have to, look at either either clean weekly charts or clean monthly charts to help to understand the core picture of what's really happening here. This was a retest of the breakout. So then, even though I wasn't at my desk, I was in London at the time, actually. This was an obvious setup to me. So I went into the Trade Ideas feed on Discord and I started really firing away opportunities that I was seeing, forming in the market as we formed that low in the later part of April, right around that 423, 424 time period. I was seeing lows that were forming all over the place, and I really liked this action in Bitcoin off of that low. Now, let's again go to the shorter time frame. I want you to see this base, right? Because these things are going to keep happening. You will keep seeing basing patterns forming, actual bases in terms of price. Here is your actual base. Look at how this trend was negative, right? All three down. Then it started to flat line a little bit here, and then it started to curl up right here. Okay, so right around here towards that middle part of April, right here on 421 is when it started to set up, and there's your actual breakout level. You can see the equal highs. It looked right at it at 89.6, right? That is when we turned positive on 421 here and highlighted that was the first long setup out of the base. And what I was looking for is a move towards 100,000-ish, and then to all-time highs at around, at the time it was at 110-ish. Now it's at 111.3, but same thing basically. We got there, and then what I want to highlight is this bull flag, right? We did a trade idea long for level 3 and 4 members right here. Why? Because this is a bull move higher, a flag back into the rising trend. Look at the PO, right? This was your setup right there. That's exactly what you look for. Look at the angle of the RS, right? Everything I highlight in all of the work I do for Ask Slim, right? Firm up. That is your signal, right? Not trying to say, oh, look at this move up and down. Look at this move. Could it sell off more, right? Anything can happen at any time, but you have to be able to see what is really going on. What side of the market do I want to buy? What is my overall playbook for a bullish translation, right? And that's what I like to do, is just to literally just buy pullbacks into that rising ribbon as long as we're holding above the, in this case, rising 21 EMA, right? We say that all the time. And that was the setup. And you can see we've just continued to run, and now we are riding the 8 EMA. Where are they going for? They're going back for all-time highs. You can see that this is a super visual area, right? And this is what everyone is now looking at. That's why back here we then overlaid a long in MSTR right around here, right on 519, as it was it was holding, right? It was holding tight, right? This was the move that I was looking for in MSTR to the upside because I'm seeing this old high. So I'm trying to just simply show you um, my logic for how this low formed and trying to highlight what we can look for the next one. So if you don't like to trade crypto, that's fine. That's totally fine. I'm not asking anyone to trade anything that they don't want to trade, but this same logic happens in underlying stocks. It happens in every market. So just understand how lows form. What are those actual setups that you can look for? What is your logic associated with the setups? But this has been super clean and just a great move here in BTC, and I'm hoping that adds value. Now let's overlay the cycle analysis, right? Look at the translation. Look at that bull right hand translation. Dip back into the ribbon, formed on time, and now we're riding the 8-day. So what are we looking for in terms of our levels? As we said, we have that old high right around um, 113-ish here. There's also fib zone 112, 754 up to 117, 768. 528 to 612 is when that low is due. Okay, as you can see, I am running low on my battery, so we are going to finish this up here. We're looking for a bit higher, watching for a flag, and then for this to turn its way back to the upside in Bitcoin. Very, very strong action on both the intermediate term, which is still early in an intermediate term rising mode and likely to blast off in time higher. And again, what is the overall playbook for me personally? Just to be really buying flags back into that ribbon as long as we're holding the rising 21-day EMA on a closing basis.